guys, I'm back. Hope you guys haven't missed me too much. Before I start, probably give you a bit of explanation of why I've taken so long. But I don't know if you know, there's a major clampdown in the UK on free speech. There's YouTubers who have been shut down, people getting demonetized, and even people like Richard Medhurst and many others I know are being arrested. And yeah, it's happening a lot. It's been happening to me for a while now, and I'm not saying I was arrested, but I was warned, mainly from my bosses that I work with, and also some authorities. I'm not going to say who. I'm not at liberty to say at the moment. And they did warn me that if I continue, that they would make my life extremely difficult. So, so I've been laying low for a while, not because I'm scared or anything, but because I wanted to keep my family safe. It's nothing to do with me. It's basically people around me that I am more worried about. So that's why I kept quiet. Plus, I've been taking a nice break. Those of you who are following Twitter, I have been on Twitter, so I've not disappeared from the world. I feel like I'm in a good time to return now, mainly because one of the jobs which was important to me, I've lost it now, so I've lost that job, so I really have nothing to lose anymore. I am actively looking to get another one, but in the meantime, what I'm going to do is make a hell of a lot of YouTube videos and get myself back to how I was. So this is why I'm kind of returning, to be honest. Otherwise, before, I was scared of losing my job and stuff. In this economy, you have to be very careful, not for myself, but for the family. Obviously, I've got a mortgage to pay and things like that. So I feel now is a good time to return. And those people who have kind of threatened me and stuff, it doesn't really matter now because I really have nothing to lose. What they're gonna do is sack me from a job I don't have anymore. So they can't really do much anyway. They can kind of demonetize me on YouTube and stuff, but if they do that, I'll open another channel. I'm not really that fussed or bothered. At the end of the day, money's not everything. End of the day, it's the message you send out. So I feel like I've had a good break anyway. It's not like I've wasted that time. I've been following other channels, listening to what's happening in the world, and I've taken a nice break from YouTube. I mean, between you and me, guys, YouTube, everything that's going on in the world is very stressful, especially, covering all the latest news and stuff. It gets very depressing, all the killings and all the bloodshed, everything going on, and it does take a big toll on you. So for me, I had a nice little break, and now I'm ready to come back and give you guys the news that you deserve. And those of you who are still subscribed, you know that my channel, everything I've kind of everything I've said over the past few years has come true. All the predictions I've made has come true. Everything. You're welcome to go back a few years when I've started the channel. Everything I have said is pretty much coming into fruition. So whoever does follow me, you know that you guys are getting a great deal, great education. I hope this stuff is knowledgeable as well. And also, we're here to kind of open the eyes of people who are not that knowledgeable about geopolitics, and maybe we can open a few more eyes and get these sheeps to start turning into wolves. Let's just say that. So anyway, let's get back to the main stories. I'm going to be talking about quite a few things today. This is my list of things that we'll talk about. So we'll start with Lebanon first of all, and I don't know how to say this, guys, but I'm just looking at this New York Post article, and we've had a terrorist attack in Lebanon, literally a terrorist attack, And you have the New York Post basically glorifying it. They're not denouncing it, they're not condemning it. They're almost like they're celebrating it. And it's really sickening to see this from a Western paper, from a Western outlet. They're almost like, I mean, everyone knows the Jays. I'm not going to say the full word, but when I say the Jays, you know who I'm talking about. A certain group of people who kind of control the world at the moment. And the sheer, even if you mention the word, can get your channel demonetized and stuff. This is why Richard Medhurst has been arrested, because he mentioned the Jays a bit too much. Um, Even I don't even mention it on my Twitter. I basically change the spelling just to kind of confuse the algorithm. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about when I say the Jays. So I mean, 2/3 of the Congress are owned by them. You're welcome to look at all of Biden's Congress members. 2/3 of them are owned by that, and you know how much they are owned. You just have to go back and look back at when Netanyahu first went to Congress to deliver a speech, and you see all of them standing up, giving him a standing ovation every like 2 seconds. Every sentence he made, they were standing up, giving him a standing ovation, cheering, clapping, screaming his name like he's some sort of rock star. And it was just really bizarre to see that these American Congress members, these Senate members, who basically worshipped Netanyahu like he's some sort of god or something. And at one point, Netanyahu said, "Don't clap," and they didn't clap. And then once he finished his sentence, he said, "Now you can clap." It's almost like he's directing them. They're like his little puppies. He's telling them when to clap, when not to clap. And they're all doing it like a bunch of puppies. And at one point, Netanyahu said, "You stand with Israel, like all the Americans stand with Israel. They have no choice." And it was just really bizarre, guys. And I mean, everyone knows that the Jays kind of control the world at the moment. You have 2/3 of them running Congress. I mean, Biden's family is basically half J. I mean, I think his daughter-in-law is J, and his sons are married to J's, and he got, oh man, there's so many J influences everywhere. It's all over. It's all over everywhere. It's all over Hollywood. It's all over the music industry. As you know, with the P Diddy stuff, he's been arrested. So all that stuff is going to be coming out. Um, they own the social media. You have like Mark Zuckerberg owning Instagram and Facebook. You have BlackRock, who have got hundreds of trillions of assets all over the world. Owned by Jay. They have their hands in every single cookie jar. They even own the Fed. Like Janet Yellen is a J. And even Jerome Powell reports to Janet Yellen. And if you guys, I might do a video on this soon, but I can talk to you about the history of the Fed. Even the Fed, when he was the first guy who made the Fed was a J. And I can probably give you kind of brief history lesson, but not now, not for this video. I can do it in a later show. But they got their claws in every single industry, guys. I mean, you just mentioned the word J in a negative way and you get cancelled immediately. Censorship is J, right? They basically attack you with anti-Semitism and stuff like that. And you can talk about anything else. You can hate on, you can go on YouTube. You can talk about China. You can talk about, Russia. You can talk about India. You can talk about America. You can talk about any country whatsoever. You will never ever get, banned and stuff. But as soon as you mention the J's, your channel gets demonetized. You get arrested. You get put in prison. I mean, come on. What's the world coming to, guys? So anyway, going back to this article, I mean, this is them glorifying terrorism, right? I mean, do you see, like, imagine when 9/11 happened. If you see a world suddenly producing articles like this, how do you think the Americans would feel? Imagine like Britain suddenly BBC starts coming out with some articles like this after a major terrorist attack in your country. You would immediately declare war, right? I mean, this is like next level. Really, I don't want to say stupidity, but it's probably beyond that, to be honest. I mean, they're just trying to normalize it. The West is just trying to normalize it. When Israel does it, it's okay. They're defending themselves. But when it happens to them, I mean, if this bomb went off in Israel, imagine the what the world would say. They would actually go up in arms. You will never stop hearing from it. They will be saying, "Oh, this is worse than 9/11. Look what these Muslim terrorists are doing to us. Oh my God!" It's just double standards, whichever way you want to look at it, guys, and it's just sickening, to be honest. So let's go to the next story. So what Israel did, um, they attacked Lebanon with bombs as well. Not only did they have a chance to kind of, they didn't even have a chance to recover from all those bombs that they kind of set off with the pagers and stuff. So yesterday they basically fired this what looks like a nuclear missile. I mean, look at this. Look at the shockwave. Can you see the shockwave in the sky? I'm going to rewind it. You can see this massive shockwave and a mushroom cloud. And apparently people are. I mean, look at this mushroom cloud. I mean, people are investigating whether this was actually some sort of nuclear device, and we're talking about a mini nuke, or they call it the tactical nuke, where you can miniaturize a nuclear device, and you can basically blow things up without, you know, it's not like the nuclear device that was dropped in Hiroshima. These are much more smaller. However, they're very powerful, and they can go underground and stuff. So their blast radius is huge. So people are investigating whether this is actually a nuclear attack. But so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I mean, everyone knows the world's worst kept secret is Israel having nukes. I mean, everyone knows they have them. You can go back to JFK, when JFK tried to stop Israel from having nukes at the time. What Israel was doing, they were basically stealing American secrets or nuke secrets to build their own nuclear facilities and bombs and stuff. But what happened was they actually stole nukes from the USA, and these are documented evidence of that happening. And Kennedy at the time wanted to put a stop to it, and also he wanted to ban APAC as well. He wanted to ban APAC from. He wanted to register them as a foreign entity, but guess what? He got assassinated, and APAC was basically just got very powerful afterwards, because the next guy who joined was next president was Lyndon Johnson, and Lyndon Johnson was an absolute Zionist himself, and he was probably one of the most pro-Zionist or pro-Israel presidents that ever lived. And even the Israel had said that Lyndon Johnson was probably our most friendliest, most pro-Israeli president we've ever had. And he did a lot for Israel at the time, and including, gave AIPAC all the power, and now you see how powerful AIPAC has gone. And he also allowed, nuclear facilities in Israel, nuclear weapons and things like that. He kind of let it go. He didn't really care about it. And this is why, because and as soon as Israel, achieved nuclear status, what did they do? They basically attacked Egypt at the time, and and what happened was they started the 6 Day War. and they call it the 6 Day War. And one of the reasons it lasted for 6 days, this is not written in the history books, by the way. Israel actually threatened these Muslim countries with the nuclear bomb, and this is why they had to stop after 6 days. They had to kind of the Muslim countries knew, I mean, secretly behind the scenes, that those were the negotiations. Muslim countries knew that Israel had the bomb, and Israel will basically finish that, managed to finish off that war very quickly. They took the Golan Heights from Syria, and they also took the Sinai from desert from Egypt as well. But they eventually gave that back, obviously, for a peace deal. But yeah, Israel has become very, very powerful over the years. They managed to control Congress and the American, but both Trump and Kamala. I don't know if you guys realized Trump was on a kind of rally a couple of days ago, and he was basically saying things like he wants to make Israel great again, and he says Israel is quite small. He wants to help make it bigger, and he also said things like, if I do not become president, then Israel will cease to exist, and I am Israel's greatest friend. So what happened to America first, by the way? I mean, Trump's first presidency was all around America first. It doesn't matter what you think of Trump in the day. You have to respect him for being America first, because in the day, America should come first. If you're running for president of your own country or a prime minister, your first priority should be the people, right? The people of America. And here you have Trump basically simping for Israel. He's just simping, saying, "Oh, he wants to make Israel great again." He also said Israel is the greatest country on earth. That's what he said in his own words. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. And yeah, so if you cannot say you are America first, but then you put Israel first before it. It just doesn't work. If you want to be America first, you have to put America first. Israel does not come before America. So that's a problem. The Trump has been taken over by Zionists, but it's the same for Kamala Harris. But Kamala Harris is not as vocal as Trump, as you know. Trump is the one that's simping at the moment. Kamala is keeping quiet. So I don't know if might be a good thing at this stage. Maybe her advisors have told her to stay quiet, let Trump do all the talking, and he'll just ruin his chances. So yeah, I mean, I don't think Trump winning is a sure deal anymore. I think people in America, they are, people in America are not stupid, right? People know that, Israel and Zionism have taken over, all parts of American lives, every single sector. And they know that, if you really want to be America first, you need a strong president that's gonna basically push back on Israel and on its crimes, and push back on AIPAC and things like that. So yeah, I think American people know that, and I think this is gonna ruin Trump's chances. I just do not think Trump is a sure deal anymore. I mean, I probably thought Trump would win a few months ago, but I'm not sure anymore, to be honest. So let's move on. So Motorola wrongly accused of manufacturing Hezbollah pages. So do you remember these pages that got blown up in Lebanon? So these are Motorola pages, by the way. And some people have said that the supply chain got hijacked or something like that. But no, this was done at the production level. You cannot hijack a supply chain, put a bomb into it, and just release it back in public. It's just impossible. For example, if somebody hijacks an iPhone, they cannot put a bomb inside an iPhone and then give it back to you. It's not that easy. First of all, every single iPhone, when it's made, there's a space for a certain thing. there's no extra storage spaces to put a bomb, or to basically have this space, put a bomb there, or put an explosive there, do that. No, these every single product that's made, there's no space for having bombs here and there, and they're made with specific software and stuff. So somebody's managed to hack the actual device, put that program in, which they probably sent the program when they were ready. They sent this program saying, explode, and it did all these calculations, and it suddenly starts beeping and starts overheating, and then it's just blown up. So somebody had to physically put the bomb inside the device, and this can only be done at the production level. So this is why Taiwan has been getting a lot of blame, because these devices were initially made in Taiwan. If you look at the back, you can see, it was made in basically Taiwan. So what's happened is this Norwegian guy, but he's not actually Norwegian, by the way, he's Indian. So he's and everybody knows India is basically helping Israel at this moment. India and Israel are basically toe to toe. They're standing together, fighting, Gaza and stuff like that. So this is one of the reasons why India is hated at the moment, and I'll get to India in a short while. So this guy collaborated with Israel, and he basically bought a license from the company that makes it in Taiwan, and he bought the license and he started making it in I think it was Hungary or something. And you can see the tech guru who helped Israel obtain the pages used to bomb Lebanon has gone missing. So he's basically gone missing because he knows people are after him. He knows he's basically in trouble. So he basically did the license, and he built these factories in Hungary. In the factory, he built these devices from scratch. And these devices, basically, he managed to put the bomb in, put the software in, and they got sent to, obviously, Lebanon and stuff like that. However, most of the people that got injured or killed were not Hezbollah, by the way. I mean, this is clearly, if you look at all the kind of media from Lebanon and coming out of Lebanon, and even Al Jazeera and stuff like that, they're saying that most of the people who got injured were medics, doctors and nurses, teachers and stuff, because end of the day, these they don't go directly to kind of Hezbollah. They don't go directly to Hezbollah, by the way. They're used by doctors, because even in the West, in UK, in America, the doctors have pages, nurses have pages, because you are not allowed to have mobile phones, right, in the hospitals, because of the signal. You don't get a signal, and also it's dangerous if you're around devices. They're not going to work as well if you got mobile phones around. So it's very dangerous to carry mobile phones in hospitals. So this is why doctors and nurses carry pages with them. Even teachers have pages with them. They're not allowed to carry mobile phones while they're at school or college and stuff. So they walk around with pages. So there's a lot of people walk around with pages, but also 2 kids died as well during the explosions. And these explosions were happening everywhere. They're happening in shopping centers, in the streets, in the shops. So this was an actual terrorist attack. These weren't just targeting Hezbollah. These were targeting anyone and everyone that carried one of these pages, and these pages were distributed to everyone by the looks of it. And today Israel has come out saying, oh no, it wasn't us after all, because they saw the carnage, they saw the damage that's been done. They saw that so many doctors and nurses got injured and killed, and hardly any Hezbollah members actually got injured. These are all kind of civilians. They looked at the damage. They looked at the cost of what this would mean geopolitically, and they said, oh no, it wasn't us after all. But it's too late. Everyone knows it's Israel, because for the last 2 days, the West has been celebrating the fact that it was Israel. You see the New York Post and everything, and so they can't turn around now and say, "Oh no, it wasn't us anymore." At the end of the day, it's too late. The cat's out the bag, and this is going to cause major problems now for the supply chain and also for trust in Western products. And and I put this video here because oops, sorry. Yeah, I put this video here mainly because just in time the Huawei XT phone has come out, and there's major reasons for this because Huawei was banned from UK and the rest of the Western world mainly because the governments and Israel, they couldn't hack the phone, so they wanted to be able to hack the phone. They wanted backdoors into the phone to basically spy on people and stuff like that. And Huawei didn't allow the US government and the CIA to do that. And because they didn't allow them to do that, they got banned. Basically, they got banned from Western, supply chains and stuff like that. And everybody remembers Merkel when her phones were tapped, and many other phones are probably tapped all around, Western leaders and stuff like that. These are just normal iPhones or even other devices. They're so easily, can be hacked and tapped into, and they can't get away from it. And the only way you can get away from it is having a Huawei product or a Chinese product. And one of the advantages of Huawei is they have all the manufacturing in-house. If you go to Taiwan, for example, if a product is made in Taiwan, Taiwan doesn't make everything. Not everything is made in Taiwan, right? So what happens is they use the global supply chain. So, the software will come from America, then you'll have the battery that will probably come from China. They'll have the casing that will come from China. Packaging will come from China. Then you have the actual hardware. Memory chip will probably come from South Korea. You'll have the CPU chip and the semiconductor will come from Taiwan itself. Then you'll have other products coming from Germany, from other parts of Europe, other parts of America. So you have a global supply chain providing. They do assemble different parts, and they basically get assembled in Taiwan. I'm talking about pages, by the way, not the actual phones. And they'll get shipped over to Lebanon. But with China, with Huawei especially, all the supply chain is in-house. So nearly every single product is made by Huawei or local supply chain, local Chinese companies. So you cannot have infiltrations like you have in these global supply chains. It's almost impossible. And the reason Huawei has that is because they've been sanctioned by the West. So they were forced to cancel every single every single kind of customer, and they had to kind of find their own or build their own. And this includes software as well. Huawei got kicked out of Google, they got kicked out of Oracle, they got anything Western they got kicked out of. So Huawei ended they're forced to build a Huawei OS, and I think the next version of it is called Huawei OS Next, which is completely gone off Android. It'll be a complete independent architecture. And all the parts are local, all the supply chains are local, everything's made, like all the batteries, all the casing, all the display, software, everything's kind of in-house and in China. And it's also unhackable as well. So as you know, they've been able to hack Western phones, but they cannot hack Huawei. That's why it got banned. So this is why there's tons of orders now coming in from the Middle East and other parts of the world for Chinese products. So pages are being made by Chinese firms now rather than coming from Taiwanese firms. You have a big sales order of Huawei phones as well. And if you look at Huawei's website, I mean, last time I checked, it said around 7 million orders were made, pre-orders, online pre-orders, and and there was big queues as well outside Huawei shops in China and stuff like that. So so these products are very expensive. I mean, this product itself, um, it's like a phone, but it also opens up into like an iPad and stuff. But price itself is costs around 3,000 US dollars, or just under 3,000 US dollars. So if you imagine if they sold 7 million of these, you can imagine how much money Huawei will make. I mean, they're going to make a lot of profit from this, and all this profit will probably go to research and development, because that's what Huawei does. All their money goes back into the company on their research and on their employees and stuff like that, and they'll come out with better products and bigger products and better phones, better technology and stuff. So they're going to make a ton of money from this phone. I mean, you can just work it out. $3,000 with 7 million orders. I mean, we're talking about, between 10 billion to 100 billion in terms of revenue they will get, depending on, how much more they can sell. And so yeah, there's a huge amount of orders coming in from the rest of the world, especially the Middle East. Now they just want to buy Chinese only products, where the product is only made in China, not in any other country, because they don't trust the Western, countries anymore. They don't trust Western products anymore. And what Israel has done, it has destroyed the Western trust. So I mean, I got an iPhone. So imagine people in the world thinking, is my iPhone going to blow up one day when Israel doesn't like me, or Israel wants to, do some sort of terrorist attack in my country, or a black flag event or something like that, black swan event. So you cannot trust Western products anymore. I mean, there's people in UK using pages. Are they booby trapped as well? Are iPhones booby trapped? Are walkie talkies booby trapped? It just this is why Israel has unknowingly destroyed Apple. I think Apple shares are going to start falling big time now. Already they are losing the race behind Huawei and Xiaomi as well. I think in terms of global sales, they are third now, Apple, behind Xiaomi. But in China, Huawei has taken over Apple since last year. And even though Apple is sanctioned to hell, they are still outselling Apple products in China. So, this is going to be the end of Western, iPhones and Western products, because people are not going to trust the Western products anymore. The global South is 80% of the population. The West is only 20%. So you can see the market here. If people don't trust the Western goods and products, and they only trust, made in China only, then you can imagine how much damages this has done to Western companies. So let's move on, guys. So Hezbollah has retaliated against Israel, by the way, and they have kind of hit some. I think they've hit some bases and stuff like that. But this is gonna escalate even more to wider conflict. I think we can see probably some sort of major war happening between Lebanon and Israel. And even the Lebanon, I mean, let me make it clear, Hezbollah is not Lebanon, by the way. Lebanon, army is separate from the Hezbollah army. So Hezbollah is a military unit separate from the national army in Lebanon. So Israel attacking Lebanon, all it's doing is basically making the people go behind Hezbollah. They're saying, Israel is attacking us. Hezbollah is trying to defend us, so we will support Hezbollah. We will protect Hezbollah. And even now, I've seen statements today from I think the Prime Minister of Lebanon saying that Israel is basically attacking us. We will go to war with Israel. We back Hezbollah, and even the people are demonstrating in Lebanon supporting Hezbollah as well. So all of this is bringing people in Lebanon together basically. And Lebanon is a multicultural country. There's Christians there, Muslims there. It's a very multicultural country, and then everyone is basically rallied around Hezbollah, because this was 9/11, in Lebanon. This was an actual terrorist attack by Israel, and people are not going to forget this. People are not going to suddenly support the West and Israel, blah blah blah. Denounce Hezbollah. No way. I mean, this is all going to rally people behind Hezbollah. Same way the Palestinians will rally behind Hamas. This is going to rally people behind Hezbollah. And what Israel wants, he wants a greater war. They want a greater Israel. Gaza is in the way, West Bank is in the way. They're attacking West Bank as well, by the way. Lebanon is in the way, and Jordan is in the way, Syria is in the way. So eventually they are taking out land from these surrounding countries one by one, because they want to make a greater Israel, basically. They want to make Israel greater, bigger. And so that's the plan at the moment. But obviously these pesky Muslims are in the way, so we need to get rid of them. That's what they kind of saying. That's what they're saying, and that's what they're trying to do. Okay, so let's move away from the Israel-Lebanon Gaza conflict. Let's talk about the economy. The US dollar index has been basically, let me just put this for the year. Yeah, so last week we had the rate cut. We had the Fed basically cutting the rate cut to 50 basis points. And this means, and they also said they're going to cut rate cuts throughout this year and next year as well. So they will eventually go back to zero. So looks like they have, basically failed in the fight for the inflation, because the only reason they had to increase the rates, because inflation was going out of control, and they had to do that. They had to increase the interest rates to calm down the inflation. Unfortunately, the inflation is still here. It's not gone, by the way. And the stats has proved that the inflation has slowed down, but it's not gone back to its level of 2%, which they want. But I think the level that they say it is at the moment is around 2.5 to 3. But realistically, I think it's double that, because if you go to the shops, you can see the prices still jumping higher and higher, almost like daily. It's just going higher and higher. I mean, every day I go into every time I go into the supermarket, I notice these prices. They're sneakily adding extra price to their products, and the products are getting smaller. Like they put, if you go to a restaurant, right, and you'll notice the portions are getting smaller, and they are raising their price. That's what they're doing, and the reason they make this portion smaller, and you think you're basically paying the same price, but you're not. Basically you're basically paying for less, because they make the portion smaller. And it's happening everywhere. So that's one way to kind of combat inflation, and people are noticing anyway, and stuff like that. Kind of get away with it. So they have basically failed in fighting inflation. So if you look at the graph, right, if I go back to maybe 3 years, so you can see the dollar was gaining strength. January 2022, the dollar was gaining strength. The only reason it was gaining strength is because they were increasing interest rates. So they increased interest rates around just over 2 years ago, and you can see interest rates basically keep the currency strong. So it kept the dollar very strong. It rose and rose and rose, and then around December 2022, they announced that they're going to start looking at cutting rates. Not cut rates, but they will start looking at cutting rates sometimes, in 2024. That's what they said. So you can see since then the dollar has been losing its strength, and it's just over 100 now. And the dollar has been basically gradually losing its strength. And looks like if they're going to keep increasing interest rates, you know, increasing interest rate has kept the dollar strong. So if they stop increasing interest rates, if they start reducing interest rates, the dollar's gonna go back into free fall, and I think it's gonna go all the way down to lows is probably lowest it's ever been, and especially with all the de-dollarization going on around the world. There's a BRICS meeting happening in October. That's gonna kill off the dollar even more. And this is why gold prices, silver prices, Bitcoin has been going up, guys. So if you want to invest in that, do it as soon as possible. But yeah, it looks like the dollar is toast, as they say. So why is it important if the dollar is toast? I mean, who cares? Well, first of all, the Americans will care because America is an import country, which means they import more than they export. I mean, their trade imbalance is over $1 trillion. So that means they import $1 trillion more than they export. All right. So there's a trade imbalance of $1 trillion with other countries around the world. And they have this trade imbalance because they don't really have the manufacturing like they did. They exported all their manufacturing out to other countries, especially to China. And they've just been using the dollar to kind of buy goods and services, really. And the only thing they're keeping in house is the high-end goods, like high technology stuff. We're talking about, semiconductors and AI and the high tech stuff. All the low tech stuff they've pretty much exported to the rest of the world. Unfortunately for them, they didn't expect China to rise so fast. So that's really put a spanner in their works, unfortunately. But who cares? So yeah, the dollar is basically toast. So as the dollar falls, because it's an import-only country, the cost of goods is going to be more expensive because you need more dollars because if your dollar is getting, weaker, you need more dollars to basically buy goods from the rest of the world. So that's how it works. If you're an import country and your dollar falls, that's bad news because that means your imports are going to be more expensive. And so if imports are more expensive, what does that mean? That means inflation is going to start going up again, and that's going to be bad news for Americans. But it looks like the Fed has already given up on the inflation battle, and if the inflation goes up again, they really can't do much. I mean, they cannot reduce interest rates and suddenly increase interest rates and stuff. They cannot go up and down. I mean, if they do that, the market and the global community will lose confidence in the dollar even more. They will lose confidence in the US Fed, and that will accelerate the dollar's demise and also accelerate the economic demise of America. So they cannot, once they start a rate cut cycle, they have to keep on with it. They cannot suddenly stop. I mean, for example, when they did the rate hike cycle in January 22, they raised it by quite an amount, but they stopped in December 2022. Then they said they're gonna start cutting rates after that. So they cannot keep topsy-turving and say next month, oh no, inflation's back up again. We're gonna start, raising rates again. They can't do that. So it looks like the dollar is toast, guys, and I think the end game is coming in front of us, and I think there's going to be major shifts in gold, silver, Bitcoin. I think these commodities are going to really shoot up over the next year or so. So keep out for that. Hey guys, the video's become far too long, so I'm going to stop here for now. I have made a second part of this video talking about India. I'm going to upload that very soon, so look out for it. So for now, take care. Let's rebuild our community again. Let's start making more videos and get back to where we were. And don't forget to like and share, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care for now. Bye.